Good morning, everyone, or good evening, depending on where you are. But hi, and I am back. Can you hear me and see me? Mhm. Hmm. Hey, Alberto, how are you doing? We'll proceed once someone confirms. Parappa, parappa. Yes, awesome. So, yeah, what is up? So, last week I was in Mumbai plus 1 day in Bangalore. So, that trip, that is why no live streams. Let's switch to screen share and I will show you what I have been working on. So frappe.school/lms created. So yeah, if you saw the tweet on X, you might know that I repurposed the entire SQL live stream into a course on Frappe School. So it's not published yet, still work in progress, but as you can see, clearly you can now jump around and study topics, right? And some topics that I did not cover, I will cover in the course, like limit clause. And someone asked for query builder, that will be after I publish it, so that's fine. But the main thing about this is how do I add like quizzes, right? Uh, this LMS has quizzes, right? But it has multiple choice questions and just input, not something like you can't check SQL, right? Or you can't check Frappe framework assignments. For that, I built a assignments portal, right? Using FrappeUI, and I showed it assignments portal on in the conference as well. So this was specifically built for Frappe framework assignments. So they can submit here and then it auto checks and stuff. So similarly, I want to build one for SQL, right? So the idea is, let's go to some whiteboard. Come on. Okay. Let's pick blue this time. And so the idea is that I will have a portal, right? Where it will have multiple problem sets. So maybe one assignment is related to joins, right? So it will say P set, whatever problem set name. It will have multiple of this P set one, etc., right? So each problem set, right? Hey Shubham, thanks man. How are you? Um, so problem set 0, problem set 1. So I'm right now talking about the user facing side of it. We'll go back and how I will architecture it is the next step, right? So the student will come here and there will be some introduction, right? That about the problem set, about the data that it contains. So uh, it will be attached to a data set, right? Which will be some tables, right? Just like our accounts and bank account table we worked with in the videos, right? Similar. So I have planned a common pattern. So I'm going to have a data set for LMS, batch, LMS, enrollments based on that. And it will contain multiple questions, right? Question number one, right? Write a SQL query for doing this, that, right? And it will have an input box for writing SQL. Select. So this is the part which the student has to do, right? Student has to complete. And once they hit submit, right, they will see either pass or fail, right? If they pass, this question will be tick marked and done, right? So to pass the whole problem set, they have to complete all the problems. As simple as that. And in the output, we can show this was the expected output and this was the output your query generated, right? And we have to prevent any other queries other than select queries. Cool. So this is the user facing side of it. So earlier, like the first thought that came to mind was like putting the data in the Frappe database itself, but that is not cool because we will run arbitrary queries against it. And if we are not, we miss something, right? Uh, hey, Turkar. Now I know why I miss some live videos. It's 7 a.m. here. I usually don't do this at this time, 10 a.m. It's very rare. Almost every time I do it like evening 7 p.m. So 9 hours from now. But yeah. So then I gave it a thought and I thought it might be the case that this problem set has a separate data set, right? Maybe it's dealing with an e-commerce data set. This problem set might have some LMS data set, right? So what is the easiest way to provide the data set directly from the site and also the questions, right? A file-based database. In this case, it will be SQLite. So what will happen is, and now I'm going back, how will the instructor create these problems, right? Create these problem sets. So there will be a problem set, right? Problem set doc type, right? Uh, you can attach, right? You can attach a SQLite database, and then you can write questions. So yeah, so it will have a child table of questions. Question 1, question 2, and the correct query, right? What is the correct query? So what we have to do is, and a question doc type will be separate. Question, right? It will be linked to a problem set, right? So these two are linked using a link field as well as a child table. So child table will give the order in which the questions will appear. And then on submission, we will maintain some kind of uh, pset submission. Cool. This will keep track of whether they have passed question 1, question 2 is pending, so on and so forth. I hope I'm clear till this point what we are going to build, right? What else? Okay, this was the notes. Now completely live. What was it? Yeah. So behind the scene, what will happen is the simplest, broken down into simplest. When the students writes a query, right, and submits it, what we will do is we will run this query against the SQLite database, right? And we'll run the correct query against the SQLite database. We will match the two. If the output is same, which means correct, right? If it is different, then the answer is incorrect. That's it. One more thing we have to keep in mind is whether order matters or not, right? So if in some question the instructor is asking that um, they should be ordered by first name alphabetical order. In that case, order matters. Otherwise, it mostly doesn't because by default, uh, SQL doesn't give you in a particular order, right? So otherwise, it may mark it incorrect if you enforce order. So yeah, this is it. What we have to build. And hey, Yasir, Egypt at 7:30. Awesome. Early morning, right? Grab a cup of coffee or tea, whatever you like. And let's get to it. So yeah, this is the whole diagram of it. And now it's time for building, right? So we already have the portal. Let me just start um, app slash. So this is the custom app that I already have installed on LMS as well as on my local. So I'll use the same app because then start. I changed my font, but cool. Let's open it up in VS Code. And the last time we worked in this app was just me getting things done, right? We were implementing a plagiarism check. This is the same app. So this has a Frappe UI app inside, assignments portal. So I will just run that yarn dev. Let's open up the browser, lms.localhost port 8080. So it should show us the, okay, what, no. What went wrong? Something permission error. Okay. I know. Okay. So I have to run bench build because I pulled Frappe right before starting the live stream. Bench build Frappe. Cool. Done. Let's refresh. Login. Yeah, this is the current portal. So it's a slash assignments portal slash day one slash day two slash day three finals. In the same, I want to implement a SQL thing, right? So we have to change this as well, the routing part of it at least. So how do we go about doing this? Let's start at the simplest. I will have a router.js file. And as you can see, slash goes to day one, day two, day three, day four, right? So each of them have a separate component. By the way, if you want to learn Vue.js from like and FrappeUI from scratch, there is a batch I'm running mm, on, yeah, 10 to 14 June. Only 9 seats left. I have 25. I had added 25. 9 of them are left. So yeah, if you want to learn it from the very basics, starting from DOM manipulation, there is a course for you. I'll share the link if someone is interested. Cool. Let's jump back. Yeah. So somehow I have to do the routing in a way that slash assignments portal slash, let me just zoom in. Yeah. Slash framework slash day one, right? So this all will be inside framework because in the future I might want to add a Python playground as well, right? In that case, this routing makes sense. Assignments portal slash SQL, right? Slash problem set one. Makes sense. Totally makes sense to me. So, hmm. How do we go about doing this? So the simplest we can do is uh, we can come here and add a route. What all does it? Path. Path slash SQL children. So I want others, what do you say, routes to be the children's. Children path. So it will be a dynamic path. Okay, wait. So we might not need children at all. Or do we? Or we don't? Here also I might, I don't know, why did I create 4 of this? Could have been just one. In this case, I will just start with the simplest. Pset name, something like that we can call it. P set stands for problem set. P set name. Okay. Name will be SQL portal component. We'll write a component, a dynamic import part slash pages slash SQL portal dot view. Cool. Let's create that page here. SQL portal dot view. Simplest. I don't want the styles. H1 SQL portal. Okay. Okay. So let's see what we got here. So if I go to slash SQL, okay, it's still here. I know why, but we'll figure out. SQL slash 1. Nope, doesn't work. Anything in the console? Always java.com. Why? No match for location with part SQL slash 1. Okay. Here is the match. What are you doing? Hmm. Nope. So if I'm not wrong, view router docs. Dynamic route matching. Yeah. Okay, now I got it. So I think we have to do this. Cool. Yeah, the underscore or dash. I think dash didn't work. Uh, Still an issue. Let me just restart the dev server. We added new routes, so maybe it's confused. Yeah, it works now. See? Sometimes just restart works, right? Whether it is a computer or the server. So SQL portal, but this I don't want, right? This I want to be part of the framework portal. So let's do one thing. So where is it coming from? I have to do some refactorings here. But yeah, fine, let's do it. Login page is no longer used. Let me just delete it. Cool. And I will do a separate commit. Let's create a branch. That's better. Git switch dash c SQL portal. Okay. Sure. Delete unused component. Okay. Now it is fine. So now we can start refactoring. So here I will add a new route, right? I will call it path slash framework. Cool. And it will have children or yeah, children. And all of these routes will become children of this. Even day 4. So let me just move it here. So now what will happen is it will first look at slash framework and then slash day 1, right? So I think half of the refactoring is done. So now if they visit directly to the portal, I can say go visit the framework day one, because that's how I have shared the links across the manual. So SQL is an addition to it, right? Hmm. So now it's simpler. Nice. So let's go back. So if I now directly visit the portal, it will take me to framework slash day one. That's nice. No match found. Okay, keep shouting. Framework slash day one. Wait. Nope. I'm doing correct, but nested routes. Oh, now I get it. Hmm. This is why I did not do. So this will require more work. I'll tell you why. Because okay, wait. Got it now. Component. Import, and I will create pages slash. I'll create a new framework portal dot view. Lot of refactoring. When do we get to? Yesterday, the Navide in my car freezed. We stopped the car, get out and get in. It didn't work. Okay. So I'll create a new component dot view, and I will move this stuff, right? This all stuff inside. No, all of it inside here. Cool. So now app.view. Come on. Sometimes it completes script setup. Okay. Here I will render the router view. Cool. So I'll explain in a bit what I am trying to do. So I'm trying to separate two route trees basically. Slash framework slash day one. That is fine. Okay. Tricky routing, but I will figure it out. Now everything is gone. No match for location with path slash framework slash day one. What is this then? Or do I not need the slash? Nope, doesn't work. See, but it works here. Should have worked. Day one, day two, day three, day four. Again, let's try restarting. I don't know why this happens. Yeah, it worked. See, now we have successfully moved this whole thing. No, the routing doesn't work. I know what we will do is we will go to framework portal and fix up the routing. So that is why it is recommended that instead of using this routes, right, better use names instead. Because see, now it is broken. And where is it used? So this thing, right, unordered list renders this steps 1, 2, 3, 4. Here is the href. So this is router ring, right? What I can do is I can say instead of that name step dot name is something else. Route name. Okay. And then I will replace this. And in router, we have given them name day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. So this will become okay. Now let's try if the router got fixed. Nope, something else went wrong. Invalid, okay, it doesn't expect an object. And how do we do the router link docs? We have to check. Let's go and check. Named routes. See, it accepts the name. Weird. Hmm. Got undefined. Okay, wait. Which line? This is weird. Okay, maybe we have to search wherever it is used and replace that thing. See, multiple places. Now it is should be fixed. Cool, it is fixed now. So now if you see, okay, the active thing doesn't work. 4, 3, 2, everything else works. Nice. Let's format document and proceed with. Okay, one more thing we have to fix. This active thing, right? That when you select day 2, it should be active. Keystroke visualization, so we can learn keyboard shortcut also. Okay, let me see what it is. Keystroke visualizer, Mac OS. It has 12,000 stars. Let's just do it live. Why not? uh, I already have Brew, so let's install it. Thanks for the feedback. So I'll install it. Let's do it. So we have to grant it some permissions. Requires your permission to receive events from macOS. That's fine. You have to go into accessibility and give this permission. Okay. We can modify the position as well. Click and drag the text. Okay. By the way, it should not visualize every keystroke. So let's open keycaster, open system settings. Let's give keycaster input monitoring. Hopefully it's not what is it? Keylogger. See, here is the visualizer. Command V. Nice. Works. Nile. Okay. Why it's not following me around? Display mouse events. Nice. It should follow me around, right? Why isn't it? Something's wrong. Will it only work on desktop? Because while I'm here, it works, but not on other. So let's open it setting. Keycaster. Too much. Okay, I don't know. I will figure it out after the live stream because for some reason it's not showing up on all screens. Okay, let's keep it here. So now it shows, right? So I'll move it this side. Cool. Let me move the VS Code instance here. And yeah, we were doing something. Hmm. Yeah, I think this is the thing. So let's console log slash framework. No, doesn't work. Oh, it's just framework. See, that's why this logic broke. So somehow we have to get the full path. Let's route object, target, full path. Yeah, I stored it as a global variable so we can play around with it. Temp dot full path. Yep, full path. Path slash framework slash. Yes, okay. See, now it works, right? Cool. We fixed that as well. What else? Cool. Now it works. Nice. Now I'll have to update links everywhere, but that's fine. Okay. So this was framework and this is SQL. So now if I go to slash SQL slash something, if I don't go anywhere, where will it go? Nowhere. So let's add a no, it needs the problem set they want to go to. So let's go to /1. Yeah. So now we have a blank SQL portal page. Cool. Let's hit commit. App.view router.js, this. Okay. Refactor. What is a good commit message for this? Hmm. Extract framework portal to separate route tree. I don't know. Works. Cool. So this is what we wanted and this is done. Cool. And we have a SQL portal page. Nice. So here we can access the problem set that we want to load. That will come from this part, pset name. So if you again check this part, dynamic route matching, see this will be available in params. So import use route const route equal to use route, and then here I can say problem set name route dot params dot pset name. Okay, let's go back. See, pset name is 1. So whatever the user says here, it will be the ID, the problem set we have to load in the UI. Nice. So yeah, let's go to the backend because that is where the data will be loaded from. So I will go to lms.localhost/app and let's start with the doc type list. So I want to create a new module def. The app will be this. The app name should have been assignment portal, but earlier my idea was just to make it for framework, so that's why. So there are some questions. I'll take them. Just give me a moment. SQL portal, save it. Nice. Now I can create doc types. So let's go back to our visualizations. What all doc types did we say? So we wanted a problem set doc type, right? So SQL problem set SQL. Okay, where is our module def? Was it not created? Wow, was not created. Yeah, now it is created. Let's create this doc type. And what all fields will have? First of all, it will have a attach field, data set, right? And we'll say, we'll add some validations, but for description. And SQLite DB file. Nice. And for creating a data set, this should be mandatory or not mandatory? Mandatory. Yeah, let's keep it mandatory. Because without the data set, the problems don't make sense. And I will hit save. So this can be naming rule. What should we use? Auto increment. So then it will be 1, 2, 3, but that sequence may not be the one that the instructor wants, right? So if I'm an instructor, I create a problem set 2 first, maybe. Hmm. Now I'm confused. The simplest is auto increment, but I don't know. I'm still thinking what should we do here? Let the user set the name. For now, I'll do that. Let the user set the name. That's fine. Cool. This is the one doc type. And the next doc type will be SQL problem. The actual problem, right? SQL portal. Save. So problem will have three. So there is no problem with auto increment, as in for in this particular case. Uh, Suppose I want to create, like, it will maintain its own sequence, right? So it will say the first one you create will get ID 1, the second one you create will get ID 2. But it may be the case that I want to create the third one first, right? Or maybe I disable one of the problem sets and I want p set to be something else. In that case, I want to control the 1, 2, 3, the sequence. Does it make sense? The auto increment will auto do the things, right? If I'm making sense in that sense. So I want to control that sequence. So the first created may not be the always the first problem set. That's where I'm going. But yeah, somewhere we have to maintain this sequence as well. So we'll see. We'll see. Hmm. Yeah, ideal case that can be the thing. but I'm going with the simplest right now. We'll refactor it. Yeah, so we have a link field, which will be problem set. So it will be linked to a problem set. So this question belongs to a problem set, and this has to be mandatory. Nice. This can be auto increment, fine with it. What else? Data field. No, 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 no. Data won't be suffice here. Let's do small text. Correct query, right? Mandatory again. Then markdown editor. This will be problem statement. Okay. Hit save. So now let's try to model a problem set. Problem set. So I'll create the first problem set p set 0. Okay, data set is required. Now we have to go and find some SQLite database. For now, I will attach random ERP Dubai image. Yeah. Even though we have said it should be a TB file, we have attached an image. So this is a problem set, and then there can be problems that belong to it. I will add a connection here so I can directly create from here. Let's go here, settings, link documents, problem. Okay, cool. So now directly from the problem set, you can create problems. You can create problems. We are creating problems. So suppose the correct answer is customer, right? Write SQL query, right? This is a markdown editor, so this can be formatted as well. So in front end, we have to see how we can render this part. Write a SQL query to show all the data from the customer table. Okay. So this is the problem statement. This is the correct query. And now it has one problem, right? Nice. So the next step is to actually implement the logic of the submission. How can I implement PWA in Frappe app using view in front end? Because there are two ways to the first is using view CLI and second is PWA binning. There is already. So check out Frappe HR app. It contains a PWA. github.com/frappe/hrms and go to front end and you will find some configuration here. It uses Ionic, but yeah, I'll share the link in the chat. See, fix PWA. Cool. Yeah, CRM is also a PWA now. So this is very recent. Like yesterday he merged, I think. We go to frappe/CRM, pull requests, PWA version 1. See, but like this is a very basic PWA. The one Rucha has done, she uses Ionic for mobile native components, inputs. So that's more sophisticated example. This will go that way, but Since this is V1, this is simpler. So you can start here and maybe then go there. 4,306. Fine. Cool, 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 cool. Yeah, so how will the user submit it, right? Now we have the problem set and the problems. How will we track um, how will we track the submission and passing and failing? So we have to create another doc type for it. SQL portal. Let's call it SQL problem set submission. So there won't be just one, or should it be question wise submission? Should it not? Hmm. Because then we'll have to keep track of one document per problem. Hmm. I'll go with just one for now. Maybe refactor, like always easy to change stuff or modify doc types. So this will have a link field. User. Who is the user, right? Who is the user who is submitting this? This should be mandatory. And the problem set, right? Problem set their this submission belongs to. So cool. This can be auto increment as well, I don't care. Or random hash also works for me. So yeah, user problem set. So this user is submitting for this problem set. And what else? So now we need a child table. Like, okay, this problem. Okay, now comes the issue. What if I move one problem from one problem set to other problem set? This isn't flexible enough. Hmm. What should we do? Hmm. So if I think from the UI point of view, each problems will have its own, but it belongs to a problem set, right? And it will be evaluated against that problem sets. So it doesn't make sense to shift questions. So child table is fine. Okay. Sometimes you have to rethink stuff. That is fine. So I will have to create a child table now. So I will call it SQL problem. Uh, set problem. So this will be have a link to the problem, which will be a SQL problem. We want this in list view. Hit save. And now I will add this child table first to the problem set table problems and link it to problem. Yep, this thing. So now here we can say maybe I have to change Okay, it's fine. Later on we can do. But yeah. And in the problem, as we were discussing, right, order matter or order doesn't matter. So we can edit this doc type and we can add a check field order consider order. Let's save. Yeah. So now if they click on this, we haven't implemented the actual backend, but we are modeling the data. So this is fine. And now problem one will be the first problem. You can add row, create more problems. That is fine. But yeah, now we want another child table that will be for tracking the correct answer for a problem, right? SQL problem submission. Problem submission. Maybe this is not the correct name. That's fine. Okay. This will have a link field to the problem, right? This is one particular problem's whatever. Select field, status. What is the status of this, right? Problem is mandatory. Status will say pending. They haven't attempted it. And correct, incorrect. And we'll also have a small text. Last, whatever the last query they entered, right? Last submitted query. So we want to save it. Weird. Okay. The default will be pending. Cool. So this is a child table. So in list view, in list view, in list view. Cool. Ha, how it works. Cool. So now I can go to submission, add section below, add a table, solutions. We could have named it solutions. Now this makes sense. SQL problem submission. It could have been solution. Should we rename it now? Okay, let's rename it because it's a solution, right? Edit, rename, problem solution. Okay, nice. Now it becomes solution. Now we can say there is a child table of solutions. Solution. Nice. So now we'll create a submission for this problem set. And suppose this problem is still pending and they haven't submitted a last submitted query. Nice. So this will help us track what all correct answers they have given, if at all they have attempted it, right? Nice. Cool. Hmm. So basic doc type layout is ready. Now what do we want? So let's hit commit core doc type, base doc types. Oh, what did I? I pressed Command W, so it closed. Nice. I have to start it again. So now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it will be 5 doc types, which is correct. Cool. I think this should be sufficient in the front end. Now we go to the controller side of things. But before that, let's prepare a SQLite database so we can practice on it. So I will open up bench data site lms.localhost console auto reload. Cool. So we'll say from. So Python has um, built-in support for SQLite, right? SQLite 3 Python. See. So what we can do is directly we can import SQLite, right? And we can connect to any DB. So by default, let's say students.db, right? Then you can get a cursor to it. Then we can execute SQL queries right from here. So let's say create table student first name will be varchar 255. I'll just add 2 fields for now. Last name varchar 255. Nice. And cool. Now let's enter some data inside this. Cursor dot execute, insert into student values John Doe Jacob no, right? And we can commit connection dot commit. Now we have to find out where this students.db got created, right? What is the base path when you open a um, console in your running Frappe site? So it goes inside sites directory, inside your see students.db. Now I can open this up and I can grab this SQLite file students.db. Let's move it to where should we move it? Let's move it to this folder, Dubai Bootcamp. That's fine. Okay. Now I will go and attach it to yep, student.db. Nice. Okay. So now think about it. Ah, so now we have the problem set, like the data set, and we have the problem, right? And when the student submits a problem, right, submits a solution to a problem, what do we do? As discussed, right, we'll run the correct query. We'll run the query given by the student, right? So in that case, it will be inside submission, SQL submission, and maybe this said select first name from student, right? This should be student as well. Student table. Nice. So now we have to implement the actual logic, right? We have the question, we have the answer. How do we check, right? So what we do is whenever now this is an issue. How do we see if a new child row was created? That is why I didn't want to go with child table solution in the first place. Hmm. Okay, so how should we model this? The simpler solution is to just check whatever pending problems are there. So let's do one thing. Let me just edit the doc type. The solution doc type status can be attempted, not attempted, right? But they will click on one, and how do we check just one problem? Hmm. Maybe this should not be a child table then. This can be just solution to a problem. Hmm. Right. So now if I model it this way, um, the problem knows about the problem set. Status is pending. Okay, now this is much easier, right? So now I'll remove that child table from the submission or leave it here. Remove it. I'll remove it for now. We'll bring back some stuff. But yeah, let's start. So now I come here. The student has submitted this. It is pending to be checked, right? And now we have to run the check on this. So I'll go to SQL problem solution.py file. SQL problem solution.py file. And before insert, or no, can be updated as well, right? On update. I'll write a method or function here. Method here. Check or yeah, check solution. Self pass. Now this is the meat of this application, right? Once we implement this, the other part is very easy. So for a solution, how do you check a solution? So first we'll get the problem set, pset doc, the problem set. Okay, let's get the problem first. Problem equal to self dot problem. Submitted query equal to last submitted query. Self dot. Nice. Problem name. Okay. If self dot status equal pending, not pending, will return from here. Make sense? So if it's either correct or incorrect, means it's already checked and we don't have to check it again. Okay. So problem name we have, submitted query we have. We want to get the data set now, right? So we have to get the pset name first, which will be frappe.db.getValue SQL problem name problem set, which is the problem set this problem belongs to. Let's uncomment the import. Cool. So now what, right? We have to also get the correct query, right? So correct query will be frappe.db.getValue SQL. Oh, this can be done in just one query. So we can just say, instead of one value, I want multiple values. So I want the problem set as well as the correct query. This will give us a tuple, which we can unpack here. Nice. So now we have to run the correct query and the submitted query against the data set. So how will we get the data set? Data set file equal to frappe.db.getValue. SQL problem set, pset name, right? And what was the name of the field? So this is what we are doing. From problem, we are getting the problem set, and from problem set, we want this data set file, right? Data set. Just a second, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. So what were we doing? Yeah, we got the file. And how do we access this file now? So usually what I do is I open up console and try to run stuff here first. Site lms.localhost console, and let's get the frappe.get last doc SQL problem solution, right? Doc equal to, so now problem name. So we can call it self as well. Self equal doc. So line by line we can run this, right? If you see the problem name, see one, and then submitted query, then this line by line. Control V I have to press, I'm pressing. So pset name and correct query. See, right? And now we get the data set file. Data set file. Yeah. So we have the path to the file, not the actual file, right? So how do we um open this file, right? So there are two ways. One is you can directly do a get doc for this file and what do you say? Work with its contents, right? The other is, um, hmm, because if you check the correct path, I usually use this path, and then what is the absolute? See, it's inside the sites directory. So, and if you know, private this all are inside this particular sites directory, right? So if you try to open this file directly like this, data set file dot exists. Let's just check if it exists or not. It doesn't exist, right? Because that's not the correct path. So the other way is frappe dot get doc file URL data set file, because it's unique. Okay, URL, no. What is the, let's check the file. File URL. Okay. See, now you get the doc and you can say get content. There is a method, right? And now I will store that content. So if you see the content, it will be binary. You can see some piece of data here. But okay, there is an issue here. Let's just try to open this using our SQLite module. Connect. Yeah, stir or bytes path. Will it work with import SQLite 3 SQLite 3 dot connect? If I give it the content, will it work? No, won't work. It needs a path to the file and not the actual file content. Ah, so maybe there is some method in Frappe that will give us the absolute path for this file in the file system. cd app slash Frappe. I'm getting some messages. Let's start with global search. Get file something something. Path. Get file path. Okay. This is something else. So this gives the file for uh, I think it gives JSON file. Okay, not this. Import file by path. File manager. Return file path from given file name. See, okay, got it, got it. So get site path. It is inside frappe.utils.get site path. Nice. So we have dataset file, right? Which is the relative path to, and then get path, and we'll give it the dataset file. Nope, doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Hmm, weird. See, this should have been prepended to this thing, but for some reason it doesn't work. Get site path. See, what is happening? Get site path. Very weird. Mm, just overrides it, the base. It's not joining the base at all. Let me try to manually do this. Still doesn't work. Why? 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 Hmm. This is weird. Okay, I'll figure it out offline. But for now, I will do this. Path, site path equal to frappe.utils dot get site base path, right? And data set file, site path. So basically, we have to join these two paths to get the actual absolute URL for this absolute path for this file. So that can be done using path side path slash data set file. See, it will give you after, okay, and then path equal to, so now path dot absolute. Weird. Again, the site dot slash lms localhost, it's not joining that thing. What is happening? Does it exist? No, it doesn't. This is weird. What am I doing wrong? Anyone in the audience? What am I doing wrong? Hmm. It's already 11:30. It's very weird. Hmm. Hi Talib, how are you? So let's check file.py if it has a method for path. Get full path. Oh, this was very easy. If it is the case, right? And get full path. See, this was very straightforward. There was already a method on this controller. Someone has taken care of it. We should have just copied this over. That's why we do stuff in console, right? So what I will do is I will say this, right? So data set file. I get the path and then I get the full path. Again, get dot shouldn't have been necessary, but I don't want to write this code again. This part of the code. Nice. Cool. Because this will handle public, private, everything. Nice. Okay. So now I can give it to SQLite 3. It will give me a connection. I will get a cursor connection dot cursor and then cursor dot execute the correct query, right? And this will give me the output of the correct output, right? I can try and print the, so what does execute return? So how do we read the data out of a cursor? Let's check. See, it gives an iterator. Okay, fine. Correct output equal to list of cursor. Nice. Then again, I will execute the submitted query and student output equal to list of submitted query. Let's print both of those, correct output and student output. Nice. I think we will have to do one more episode on this, but I have to do it today, so maybe in the evening. Let's do frappe.get last doc. SQL problem solution and dot check solution. Okay. Weird. Oh, what did I do? Cursor. See. So I will move my camera so you can see properly. Nice. So if you see, I printed the correct output, which is John Doe, Jacob Doe, and the student output, which is John and Jacob, which is correctly incorrect. Right? Which is incorrect. Correctly incorrect. What am I doing? But yeah, how do we now match these things, right? So in order to match this, we have the correct output, we have the student output, and we have two cases. If order matters, if order doesn't matter. So I'll just clean this up so it looks nice. This was the whole logic, right? Maybe we can improve this part because a get doc is, it fetches all the related stuff to file. We just want the file path. Should be easy. I'll figure it out offline. What else? Yeah, now we have to do the actual checking. So let's go back to the whiteboard and figure it out. Okay. So here we have a list of tuples, right? Jacob, Doe. mm, this. This is the correct output. And on the other side, okay, on the other side, we have the student output. So even before checking the actual data, right? Even before checking the actual data, we could easily mark it fail or correct. John, Jacob. So first thing to check is the number of rows correct, right? So we have to match the number of rows. Rows match, right? The first thing. Then columns, number of columns. Number of columns. This is number of rows. Number of rows. Number of rows. Number of columns match. If both of them match, then we have to check the actual data. Does the data match? And it has two cases, right? So the first case is order matters, order doesn't matter. Now this case is easy. If order matters, we have to check the output of 0 equal to student output of 0, output of CO, correct output of 1 equal, correct output of 1, so on and so forth, right? If order doesn't matter, we have to do a set comparison, right? So set of this should be equal to set of student output. Nice. Clear till now? So this is the checking part of it. So we will break this function into multiple. Don't worry. We'll try it up. So we have to first check if length of. So the issue is okay. I'll write a to do here. To do handle exceptions properly. Currently, it will just throw and do stuff willy-nilly. But we'll handle it properly and show it to the student that, okay, something might be wrong with your SQL query, right? Even before, like, output is produced. Maybe they misspelled the table name or the column name, something like that. So that should be conveyed to the student properly so they can fix and try again, right? Okay. So this can be done later. Let's start checking. If length of student output not equal to length of, this is the number of rows, right? Correct output. Somehow we have to store this feedback. Let me just create a simple variable for now. Self dot feedback. Okay. Self dot feedback equal to, we'll say the number of rows returned are incorrect. Your query returns, so we can say, okay, number rows, num rows, student, because we want to reuse this, right? So let's store it in variable num rows correct. If num rows student is not equal to num rows correct, this is a good project, right? To learn framework and fun project. So I will say your query returns, so we can say frappe dot bold, your query returns num rows student rows while expected number of rows is frappe dot bold num correct rows. Nice. So this will give a nice feedback if the number of rows doesn't match. So we have covered one branch of the thing. So this is covered, right? Let me go green. Now number of columns. If number of rows match, whether the number of columns match or not. So number of columns, how do we found out? Num columns equal to 0, right? Why? I'll tell you why. If if number of rows is greater than 0, there might be some case where the output is empty. It should be empty, right? When they write the SQL query. In that case, we'll have to handle that case. If there is more than 0 rows, then num columns, so we'll have to maintain 2 of this, num columns correct and num columns student. If num rows correct is greater than 0, num columns correct equal to length of num or length of correct output of 0, because this is SQL, right? So each of these rows will have equal number of columns. So any row you can check and find the number of columns. So I'm just picking the first row, and this will give me the number of correct columns. Similarly, if I'll do the same thing for num rows student is greater than 0, we'll clean up the code, but let's just first task is to get it working, right? Num columns student equal to length of uh, student output of 0. If num columns student not equal to num columns correct, if the number of columns doesn't match, self dot feedback equal to f, the number of columns returned are incorrect, your query returns. Okay, again repetitive, but I will keep it this way. We'll do a cleanup round and this will be much more neat code. Num columns student columns, while expected number of columns is frappe.bold. So frappe.bold does nothing special. It just wraps whatever you pass in strong tags, strong HTML tags. Num columns correct. Nice. So now we have handled the two cases. Number of rows match, number of columns match. And if there is a feedback after this, right? If self dot, no, if yeah, self dot feedback, self dot status equal to incorrect. So they didn't get it right, right? Cool. Now the last, and this is a bit tricky. Because now we have to check the actual data. So if this thing reaches here, right? So we should just, okay, there is an issue. So what I can do is I can do this and return from here because incorrect, right? And then do the same thing again, repetitive. I will extract it into a method later. Now we don't want this. So if your execution reaches here, which means this wasn't triggered and this wasn't triggered, which means number of rows and columns are equal, right? In both of this. So now this code can work. Let's implement it. So what we will do is we will say match Jacob with Jacob or John with John, Doe with Doe, match the other row similarly, right? And that too if order matters. So let's just check what was the field. SQL problem list. This consider order. So let's get that field from the DB as well. Consider order. Consider order. And we'll come here. Very long function. But we'll do the cleanup. later. If consider order, right? Then we have to do something. Else we have to do something else. As I said, right? There are two branches to this thing, clearly in the diagram. If order matters, order doesn't matter. If order matters, the first row should match the first row, second row should match the second row, and so on and so forth. So we'll say for I in range num rows, correct. For j in range num columns correct. So this is a nested loop. So for each row and then each column, right? We want to match if student output of I, which will give us the row, and then the column equal correct output of I comma j. A typical, very typical nested loop for looping over nested lists. We want to do, if it doesn't match, then self dot feedback equal to incorrect output. And we can break out of this loop. Self dot status equal to incorrect, and we can return from here, right? As simple as that. So we are looping over each row and then each column in that row and just comparing each cell, you can say. If any one of the cell doesn't match, incorrect. We can give more elaborate feedback. I don't know how useful this will be to the student, but let's give it anyways. Cool. Okay. Now let's try running this. Let's get the doc. And I will end it here because UI will take time. Doc.check solution. Doc.save. And let's commit to the db frappe.db.commit, and let's check whether our logic works or not. SQL problem solution list. See, it marked it incorrect. We'll add a feedback field here. Add section below, add a markdown editor field, feedback. And now if I run it again, frappe.db.commit. Okay, no, I have to save first. Okay. Now if I go to the solution, oh, no feedback. Why? I'm setting self.feedback here. Yet no feedback. Oh, wait. I know why. This shouldn't be here because it will return if it is not pending. See feedback. The number of columns returned are incorrect. Your query returns 1 columns while expected number of columns is 2. Nice. So we are halfway there. We don't have the UI right now, but we have the router setup. We have the backend almost done. We have to handle this case where we don't want to consider the order. Um, and yeah, so I will leave it here and we'll come back and complete this later probably. Or I should figure out this else part and then the backend will be almost ready. One more optimization we can do here is for a particular problem, right? We can just um, cache the correct output, but we have to purge the cache if dataset changes. Um, Additional headache, I don't know, worth it or not. So how do we do the other part where we don't have to consider the order, right? So let's just figure it out and then we can close because 12 we can close, right? It's 11:54. So my data one is like this, right? It's a list of tuples A1, B2. Data 2, which the student submitted, is A1 but C3. So clearly incorrect, although the number of rows and columns match. And we don't want to consider the order, right? So we can say set of data 1 equal to set of data 2, which is false. But the issue is whether tuple comparison works as we expect it to. So if this part, yeah, it's true. And we have B1, B2, false. Nice. So it does the comparison one by one. Cool. If I do something else here, okay. Even if that doesn't match, it returns false. Cool. So let's do a data 3, right? Which will be just the reverse of sets are very nice. One of my favorite data sets in Python. Data structures in Python. So set of data 1. So this should return true. Yeah. The order is different, but this is same. Oh, this was easier than I thought. So you can just say else if set of student output not equal to set of correct output self dot feedback equal to incorrect output self dot status equal to incorrect. Nice. Return. So now we can say on update self dot check solution self dot, this can be before save, I guess. That was before save. Nice. So now Uh, the issue is, okay, so let me move this just above this thing. So if after check solution, if self dot feedback, if there is no self dot feedback, right? We can do none as well. None also works. Self dot status equal to correct. Self dot, yup. Okay, nice. So suppose now the student updates the query, right? Select star from student, hit save. See, correct. Nice. And if they do something wrong, let's say they just give me the last name, comma, first name. Incorrect output. Okay, this should have been correct because column order, I don't know if they do star. Oh, column order also matters. That is fine. So see how it is being checked on save. So our backend is ready. Now with just the UI part is left. Okay, and refactoring is left. And we have to handle the case where if they do something like this, see, no such table student. So we have to properly format this, catch this error from SQL and display it. Nice. We will start at this in the evening probably. So let's say feed output solution checking. Let's create a PR. GHPR create SQL practice portal. I hope this you learned something new in this. So I can read the code here. I'll share. How was the stream, by the way? So let me mark it draft. I should mark it draft. How do I mark it draft? It's fine. I am the only one who will check and merge it. Nice. Productive, I guess. And let's check the status of the front end. Yarn dev was dot localhost port 8080. And if I go to SQL slash anything, p set 0. See, this is the status of the front end, which means it's 0. So we'll start from here. We'll get the problems from our doc types using FrappeUI's resource manager. Right? We have to get the problem set, then the problems that are related to that problem set list, right? And then we'll get all the problems, render them. We need one more field here before I forget. We want markdown editor introduction, right? So to give the student some context of what they have to do in this problem set, right? So add introduction field for set introduction. Cool. Let's send it here. Thanks for joining in. If you are still here, I will answer some questions before I go. So Kiran May asks, can anyone know how to install bank integration apps? Do you want to build a bank integration or like install existing apps? Like It's just like installing apps, right? Bench get app and then bench dash dash site install app, whatever app you have. It's on, if it is on GitHub, it is very straightforward. Uh, any video on HRMS? As part of the Let's Learn ERP Next series, there will be, we'll cover the HRMS module. Otherwise, I have just one video where we launched the PWA with Rucha, the live release and demo video. You can look for it in the FrappeUI playlist. Any more questions? Mohan says, hi Hussain, just trying to clone the Frappe CRM UI from my custom app. Was that a great idea to follow the same, or how can I achieve to do it? Frappe CRM UI from my custom app. Why do you want to clone the UI? How can you make sure about that even if we just up and running my app with new UI, it's asking authentication when I'm getting usually the UI we build, which won't ask for authentication, right? Just this any apps look Frappe CRM in this case. I didn't get properly or the problem. Maybe I'll need some more context. What are you trying to do? Authentication is like check out router.js. Somewhere around Sharik might have written the logic which redirects to login. Hmm. Okay. Nobody? Nobody on the stream now? Let me just check. YouTube.com. Anybody watching or not? Okay, 10 people are watching. Where are you guys? Where are the emojis? Nice. So yeah, just one last time I want to try. Incorrect. And you get the feedback. Nice. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Have a good night if it's going to be night there on the other side of the world. But yeah, see you later.